really cool.
Bonjour, hello and welcome to the Rosbiff Rugby podcast, your one-stop shop for all things French rugby, the top 14 Pro D2, National, Champions and Challenge Cups, the French national team, and of course the brilliant towns, cities, bars, restaurants, fans, stadia, people, food, everything that makes the brilliant French rugby experience what it is. Rob, you join me on a, slightly dour looking, dark, windy, rugby season looking Tuesday morning.
Yeah, genuinely, just as I was getting set up, in this room it looked darker than when I came in it an hour before. It's properly miserable outside, isn't it? A bit of a change from last week where we were melting at 6 a.m.
Yeah, had to do the get your dogs out before it's too hot recording to stop us melting mid pod. But yeah, what's news? You are adorned, it must be said, you've gone full Poe.
Yeah.
Poe shakedown here. We've got the Bern flag, we've got the section t-shirt and hat combo.
Hat, yeah.
Incredible.
Bit of solidarity for the boys, but also I've run out of other things. I haven't got enough relevant t-shirts, I think, or otherwise relevant t-shirts.
Another trip required. It sounds like. Very good. Well, today
the only Provence stuff I've got are a puffer jacket and some gloves, which I don't think are even this slightly with the weather taking a turn, not particularly relevant right now.
The gloves would be a real touch. Yeah, and I still regret not getting one of those Van Muscaton naval overshirts or whatever you want to call them. Albeit they're pretty heavy fare as well, aren't they, for the seafarers out in Brittany? Lots to discuss. It's all getting very. Feels like things kind of hobbled along for a little bit with changes in competition and the top 14 taking backseat and Pro D2 resting up, but we are fully in the mixer now. We've got the preview of the final round, the top 14 and round 25 coverage, Pro D2 semis, final ahead, National. There's been some kicking off there and some news off the field as well, which could be quite consequential for a few groups. So let's pile in. Round 25 in the top 14 has, even if there are a few results that went the way as expected, one thing it has definitely done, I think it's fair to say, is make for a very, very interesting last round to come. A lot to play for, a lot on a bit of a knife edge. What are your headlines?
It's shaken things up. I was absolutely convinced that I knew how the top six was going to finish. I was absolutely convinced, and now that looks kind of shot to pieces because of the big shake-up is Racing 92 turning over Clermont, even though I predicted it. I was 7 from 7 this week, I think. Technically full house because I technically from last week had the Pro D2 ones as well sorted. But yeah.
What had you seen in Racing before that had inspired you there? Because they haven't lost many at home, have they, Clermont?
I genuinely don't know. I just thought
why not?
It was genuinely just a hunch. I had a gut feeling.
Very good.
Yeah, that they might pull something out of the bag. I thought they were quite good against Toulon, was it, before? But that's the big shake-up, isn't it? Like the Racing have catapulted up into 5th, I think, having been 8th going into the weekend, or possibly 7th. Clermont possibly let it slip a little bit. Well, obviously with that game, but I'm trying to think they had another result that's kind of slightly set them back, but I can't think what it is. I can't find it now. Did they lose to Montpellier at some point?
I can't remember. Don't know.
No, they got dicked by Stade, but that was ages ago. Anyway, it just feels like Clermont have slightly let it slide, having been so impressive for large parts of the season. They are now the side that looks like they might end up disappointed. Tough assignment away at Bordeaux. I guess elsewhere, that's the big shake-up result, isn't it, really? Like elsewhere, it kind of went to plan. I guess the other takeaway, the other headline takeaways is that Toulouse are not firing at full tilt, and I guess that Montpellier are. or are looking ominous for everyone, really. That's what I would say. I think that's
Yeah. I don't know
anything else. Bordeaux? Do we need to any conclusions on Bordeaux?
It turns out tough to go down to the mile and get a result after 4 days on the smash, albeit they weren't far away. Were it not for Melvin Jaminet's mega boot, knocking him over from a million miles out, which was very cool to watch. No, not too much. I don't know if I quite like. I get the calling on Toulouse, but I feel like we might be a little bit premature. Like Lyon have been not terrible.
It's such an average team though that they had.
Yeah, but they were comfortable.
The team they've been putting out away is just like it's good, but there's nothing exciting there.
Well, there's Gita Wine and Colo, who is, I think, the most exciting player in the league. But without that, he's doing quite a lot of the heavy lifting. But yeah, I know what you mean. But should we talk about Montpellier Po? You've got the clobber on. You seem a little bit, kind of Montpellier a little bit ominous. They're certainly in amazing form. They went into this game with the 40th year or 40-year anniversary, the new kit. There's a lot of retro kits.
Let rip on the kit. Go on. I want your full views on the kit.
Well, my view is badge good retro badge. The Montpellier one at the moment is nay great, is it? It's been there for a while, but does have slightly chat GPT vibes. I think the main problem with the kit for me is that with the Altrad branding, it just looks like a little bit
and the red, white, and blue trim.
And the red, white, and blue trim. It looks somewhere between a shirt from about 2017 that maybe Grenoble were rocking, and also that they've maybe picked up a few spares of one of the recent France kits with the Altrad sponsorship. And for those two reasons, it just doesn't quite work for me.
It feels, now you're saying it feels a little bit like, because the colour is slightly lighter than the France one. It's like when you go to Turkey or somewhere like that, and you're going shopping for genuine fakes, and that you've picked out the fakest Altrad France shirt.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where you've ended up.
It's not for me. What I will say is it looked better in the ground than it did when they did the release on like the club shop.
Yeah.
Which I guess is the benefit of getting a load of absolutely ripped blokes to wear it. But the frustration for me is that, so we actually spoke about it, and I was going to say it to the Petit Fours, but it was Julien Thomas, Ouedraogo, Picamol, Francois Tranduc a few weeks back. They were doing a promo at the Stade Sabathé, the old ground in Montpellier, which it has now become clear was for this. And part of the photos that were taken is Louis Picamol in an absolute blazing kind of like white base color, striped number, bit of blue, bit of red. Like it's just perfection.
When you sent me that photo, I was like, that has gone right up the list in terms of shirts that I need to find somewhere in a vintage shop in Europe. It is glorious. Because Montpellier's kits have been crap for 15 years, I'd say.
Uninspiring, yeah.
I can't imagine, like, even when we went to the club shop there, it was kind of like, there's nothing really that I particularly want here.
Yeah.
Whereas that, I didn't know they'd had that in their back catalogue. That was glorious, actually. And some of the badges as well.
The answer is right in front of them, right under their nose.
And you sent that, there's a little collection of like old former badges that you could buy, or pin badges online, I think.
Yeah,
they look really cool. And we'd concluded that the current Montpellier badge is the worst of the four.
Yeah. It was not the best, but there we go. Look, nice touch, and they've got 40 names of previous players on the jersey, which is very cool. Controversial. I thought Zach Mercer might make the cut, but I don't know if it's only former players, given his heroics there. But he didn't. But anyway, that's Montpellier shirt news. Game news. Rob, did you watch this as a Po fan? I'm guessing you did.
I caught most of it. Yeah, it was a gritty affair. It was. I was surprised by how low scoring it was in the first half, and kind of Po muscling up. But Po matching them in defence, but they certainly needed to muscle up a bit more because obviously I don't know how viral it's gone, but the images we put it out as well, like Guram Papidza getting fully airborne at scrum time. And it was one of those games where one side just clearly has the upper hand at the scrum that the other one is going to have to play out their skin just to stay in the game. And I thought Po defensively were really, really good in that respect. And like they were fine at like the maul and stuff like that. But the scrum is just a real worry. And when Papidza kind of like it's bad, isn't it? Like, and that's quite early on as well, which I guess can happen. Like you kind of get caught, getting used to the opposition, and you kind of get caught unawares and stuff like that. But what they do say is that it's not like Papidza will get the Papidza's the one that gets the like shame. That's the wrong word, but embarrassment, and he's the one that kind of will have his ego dented the most. But they often say that it's a team effort. And I did look at it beforehand. Think when I saw Jolmez was in the tight headlock role, you basically had two loose headlocks. And Jolmez is obviously a giant of a bloke, and he's not thin. He's not like stick thin, but he's not Jimmy Maximan or even like Remy Piquet or Mikel Capelli. Like they do need like another tight headlock, Po. I assume Maximan was injured because I cannot think why you wouldn't pick him when you're coming up against that Montpellier pack. And they've just gone with their two best locks as opposed to their next best kind of tight headlock. And I wonder if that just overall bulk didn't, or lack of, has kind of contributed to the issues at the scrum, because Papidza's generally been all right. No Leclerc as well, but it's hard to be confident about Po going into knockout rugby once you've seen that, albeit the two guys that have been the cornerstones of that side of the scrum in Leclerc and Maximan weren't there. So Po did pretty well to stay in the fight, but there's only so much you can kind of hold off for so long. And actually it was surprisingly tight, and it looked like Po might get some points, but Montpellier not getting the bonus point but winning by a clear stretch probably felt like the fair result, I'd say.
Yeah.
I think Collie at 10 looked pretty good. Yeah. Ali, like
decent effort, wasn't it?
Ali Price looks really. Ali Price is so good, isn't he?
He's in great form as well.
Yeah. And what were your views on it? From a slightly less Po centric.
No, I was really impressed with Po and their defence in the first half. It was one of those that you just you felt something was going to crack at some point, and it just didn't. Defensively, they were really resolute and powerful as well. Like they were. It wasn't scrags. Like they matched them really well. Yeah, I think that eventually does take its toll, doesn't it? We've seen it so much, particularly with when Toulon have been really good over the last couple of seasons, just grinding sides down until they stretch away a little bit towards the end. And the scrum's an interesting one. I think ultimately you have to also give so much credit to like Montpellier's scrum is looking very, very tasty, isn't he? Isn't it? Like Adocio has been sublime this season. And I think, like here, them and Stade Francais as well at the set piece, right? Just looking so.
It just gives me chills just thinking about it.
Just so nicely poised going in, that kind of contrast of styles with some of the other teams that are in that mix. But yeah, I think also I was kind of a little bit surprised. That's the one that takes the headlines, right? But there were quite a few scrums where, getting nudged off ball and things like that. And I think you're right, Maximin, Leclerc. I don't think it makes a huge difference to the result, but I think it makes a big difference to like the tone of the game. And not every, it was that point where we've seen like South Africa teams, right, just mint scrums. And it's like any time there's a knock on, it's not there's no advantage to Po if they're putting in. You kind of got
it was like
that stage.
Po take the lead early in the second half, and you're right about the tone. Like the tone of the game was there is absolutely no way that Po will win this game. Like it kind of felt like Montpellier are going to win this game. It's just is it going to be full gates opening at the 65-minute mark, or is it going to be remain tight somehow? And it threatened to go one way, like it threatened to go kind of full gates opening at one point, like as Hogg runs in for his try, kind of looked like they could score 2 or 3 in the last few minutes here. And I was kind of a bit positive, but yeah, you're right. Like it was a matter of time that Montpellier stretched out enough of a lead. Whereas maybe if you've got different personnel in that pack for Pau, it's kind of a little bit tighter, and there's some Pau have got a genuine chance of winning the game. I kind of said to you afterwards, it could have been the worst, not the worst results, and then you promptly flattened me by saying that Pau can't get in the semis, and I think which I think is true. So
yeah,
I think the bigger concern now is that we might. Well, no, now that Racing 92 are going to win the league from 5th, maybe finishing 4th is actually better. But then you end up with Toulouse. Well, maybe that works.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
We'll come to that later. The permutations.
Yeah. Should we talk about? Actually, one guy who I think we did very quickly call out, Aaron Grandidier. Some of his aerial
he looks
work
so
was
good,
amazing.
doesn't he?
Yeah, like real kind of league leading stuff. And I think also gives them an amazing option, doesn't it, against some of these big teams as well.
Yeah, that kicking game has become more and more of a thing for Pau. And Arfoy and we know Atisogbe is brilliant, both sides. And like Grandidier and Arfoy have been excellent. I also want to shout out Timur Manu, who hasn't played in yonks and was unreal at 12. Brobery, obviously amazing when he came on, but I mean, Timur Manu has played a bit on the wing. Like, what a player to imagine coming into knockout stuff. They'll bring him off the bench, but Simone starting 12 quite often, starting centre, and back into form straight away is cool.
Yeah,
so he's had a long time out with injury.
Yeah, very good. Let's talk about Racing. They've Sunday night.
Talking of 12s,
an absolute ram raid of the Marcel Michelin. Completely dominant. Yeah, talking of 12, Joshua Tuisova. We spoke a couple of weeks ago about how there's a guy who just sometimes looks like he is so much better than everybody. Just what a player. Also managed to get himself yellow carded for, I can't remember who it was, but ending someone from the restart as well. Just to make sure he could get his feet up for a few minutes after whatever it was, 11 minutes in the first half. It's just an incredible asset. And was it Hambosi was at 13 as well?
Yeah.
Jesus,
what season Hambosi's having?
He's them together. Oh my god. Remarkable stuff. I know you were very impressed as well by the performance of Louis Carbonneau in this.
Yeah.
Leo Carbonneau.
I've been skeptical about Carbonneau, I'll be honest. I whenever people have hyped him this season, I've seen a lot of him kind of being a bit off, lackluster or just sloppy.
There's an erraticness and his lack of accuracy.
His passing can be absolutely dreadful. He's got a massive boot, that's kind of come to the fore more as the season's gone on. But he's kind of he's got himself into, maybe it was adjusting to the level of top 14. I don't think he was always amazing I never quite understood the full amount of the hype of kind of captain of France under 20s and captain of Brive at 19 or whatever. But on this performance, Jesus, when you come up against Junot and outplay, Junot's still class, isn't he? But outplayed him. Carbonneau was just exceptional in basically every facet of the game. And yeah, he's energetic. He's got a serious engine on him. Great kicking game. We saw some more invention, some more delicate touches, more accuracy. Brilliant game. He obviously has a key role in possibly the try of the season.
Yeah, it was stunning.
With the little dink through. It's got enough Fijians in it, which is cool to make it to get try of the season this year. You've got to have a Fijian
influence,
some Fijian involvement. But yeah, was it Naituvi with the offload inside, like the kind of no look round the back, sort of round the back of the defender sort of thing. The little dink from when he does that, I'm like, oh no, he's cocked up. He's got too excited and gone, we can score a wonder try here, and he's gone for the little grubber through. And it's like, oh no, this ruined it. And then Manurara just absolute wheels and finishes it off. When he's chasing it down, you're kind of like, go on, finish it, because this is an unbelievable try. And he gets there. Yeah, what a try.
Yeah.
And kind of sums up the way that Racing played. They kind of turned over inside, just outside their own 22, basically, and just went for it. and like they had too much power, too much pace. Just looked electric, and everything they tried came off basically. Like in the second half, towards the end, I think like Fiku like bursts out of his 22, doesn't he? And does something silly to set up another try. It's just, yeah, it was one of those games where they tried like from deep, tried things, and it came off, and wow, like it was exhilarating. It was thrilling stuff from Racing.
Yeah, they're going to be a real handful if they can make it into the barrage. Like they've got, as you say, I mean, they've got so many proper game winners as well.
They've
really
got
impressive.
That's the thing, isn't it? Like they've got loads of game winners in that back line.
Very impressive. The two other things I had in my notes from this was one, you mentioned Carbonneau Jeannot. Jeannot got yellow carded for a little bit of a frustrated shot to the kidneys of Carbonneau, which was, I mean, it was a yellow all day.
Such a cheap shot.
It's such a cheap shot, yeah. It's the sort of shot that actually a bigger bloke is potentially in a bit more trouble for that, I think.
Yeah, it's because they're the same size. It's all right.
The same size, which then kicked off what was a bit of a ruckus on the sideline with both Collazo and Urios pointing a few fingers. I can't remember. They actually called out the guy's name, but one of the physios or something for Clermont was then getting stuck into Carbonneau after that shot, suggesting he was milking it. Which it was ridiculous.
He doesn't. Like, he gets up straight away, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I don't know who these blokes think they are, like piling into someone who's been whacked in the kidneys from behind. But yeah, I think it was. I think Mertz was on commentary with, I don't think it was Robbie Knopp, was it Thoreau?
Angus, maybe.
Just saying like that is the battle royale we want to see. We want to see Collazo and Urios going at it like some sort of white collar event.
I was thinking that, like we give Urios rightly because of the glasses, the size of the bloke, the character, some of the interviews he's given in the past, but Collazo is I feel like I was watching this game thinking we need to give him more. He's like in the same mold. We need to give him more
limelight,
more limelight in the kind of like, I don't know, quite like mean
the cult
status. Yeah.
He's up there for sure. And the other, so that was a lot of fun. The other guy, just I think it's been really interesting and really key to how successful they've been in the last kind of 5 or 6 weeks is Antoine Gibert, who's now back starting at 10 after a couple of like slightly weird seasons. There was a point a couple of years ago where he was sort of first choice 10. They obviously then brought in like Owen Farrell, and he was playing quite a bit at 9. And I think 2 or 3 years ago he was in a France squad as like the third.
Third choice. And that was 10. Like, I feel like that was relatively recent. It might have even been like 2025 Six Nations.
Yeah, because I remember when I went to that game at Bath against Racing, he was starting 10 then, and he'd just been named in the France squad, and he looked really good there as well. And they seem to be ticking really nicely.
I think at one point, at one point it was kind of like him and Le Garrec were like these two. Yeah, they don't need like these big money signings, and they must have. I think it must have been when they let go of Finn Russell. It was kind of like, well, Racing don't need these players anymore because they've got these two brilliant young halfbacks, and I don't think Gibert's quite as young as Le Garrec, but yeah, it's kind of like he's never really fulfilled the full amount of his talent. But when he's on it, he has been brilliant. Like he has had games in the past 2 years where like every kick his crossfield kicks he nails. He's had a lot of games where every crossfield kick goes straight into touch. But yeah, I guess kind of similar to Carbonneau in that not always the most accurate, but when he is accurate, he can be top draw.
Yeah, been playing really nicely. I think regardless of what happens next week, I think you have to say that Racing have had a pretty impressive season. It was sort of stated a little bit at the outset that they were trying to, they've obviously still got some fairly steady names knocking around, but I think the kind of Farrell, as much as that, I think that was played up right because he got injured effectively. But they made a statement of trying to move away a little bit from the Galactico approach and buying a few young guys and things like that. And you'd have to say thus far it's worked pretty well. They've been good value for it. All right. Just to round up a couple of the slightly, well, not inconsequential, but perhaps more expected results. La Rochelle put 70 on Montauban. Jerome Bosville's last game for Montauban at the Stade Sapiac.
10 years.
10 years, yeah, decent old stint. So, yeah, congrats to him.
Departs as a Montauban legend.
Yes,
I would fancy
yeah,
a guess at saying.
yeah. I think that's more than fair. Stade Francais very comfortable over Bayonne. They're looking good as they have done for a little while.
Stade Francais with Tanny Vili at 6.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And he
why
scored.
not?
Well, yeah, why not? Like, you've got 3 like seriously robust centres. I feel like Nene in the back row would be a little bit of a piss take. You could easily put Jeremy Ward as like a 7, kind of an all action 7. But yeah, Tanny Vili feels like why not?
Yeah,
You've got Baller, who is seriously physical, brilliant both sides of the ball. Why not stick him in the back row?
yeah.
Doing the reverse
the
Sekou.
reverse Maku, yeah. Makalou, yeah, very exciting. So that was cool. Perpignan beat Cast, the last play of the game. Very nice try, it must be said.
It's a very nice try, yeah.
But yeah, rather sums up Cast's spluttering season. I think the only good, there are 2 things in this. So there was there was a piece of play before half time, which I feel probably sums up both Perpignan and Cast a bit this year, where I can't remember who it was. It might have been Petiti makes a really nice break and the offload goes awry. You're like, oh, so promising. And then Perpignan on the counter, lovely offload to Erdebjeta. Like there's a really nice little overlap for the counter attack. And the pass just misses everyone and goes straight into touch. And then they blow for half time. And you're kind of going, yeah, that feels about right. The only positive for Cass was Louis Lebrun came off the bench.
Yeah.
First game since the 20th of September. Such was his injury. So yeah, I'd imagine as much something just keen to play and yeah, nice to see him back, albeit in another Cast loss.
Do you know what's terrible news for Cast?
What's that?
It was one of the games we haven't touched on yet. That Toulon are going to be in the Challenge Cup.
yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
Because Cast could have legitimately, like the way they've gone in Europe over the last couple of years, they could have had a go at that. They kind of need someone to knock out Toulon, you'd fancy, because Toulon are going to be quite good next year, I think. And they can't be as bad again with that squad. And we've seen that at home they're still fairly tough to beat. The Bordeaux team was odd, unsurprisingly. Had a few things shaken up in it, like Musquez starting at 13, Parlou moving to 7. I was trying to think. They had the reserve halfbacks, didn't they, and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was a kind of weird.
It's still quite
mix.
a good team.
It was a good
it's
side,
kind of like
yeah.
You're kind of like, oh, Bordeaux look a bit wobbly, and then you go through it. It's like, well, actually, they don't. Like, they're all still quality players.
Yeah, and they were leading with 10 minutes to go, having conceded. They were a fair way down right at the end of the first half. And old Yannick Brou looked rather exasperated on the side, but yeah, they'll be frustrated. Albeit, I guess the Racing, well, does it help them maybe because it keeps them above Clermont? It's in their hands, right? Bordeaux going into next week.
Yeah.
A word for the big man, Big Ben, who backed up his heroics in the week by scoring within like a minute and a half of coming on or something.
Came on at half time, scored in the 42nd minute.
I sort of imagine him entering the field a bit like, do you remember the Stone Cold Steve Austin, like cracking the cans of lager and then being like, right, we're gonna have to take this on myself. But yeah, fair play to Toulon. And if you haven't seen them, I know we mentioned it, but those 2 Jaminet kicks are
one of them's on the top 14 social media. I think they're
large.
Like on the angle inside zone half.
Yeah,
there was a lot. I haven't seen enough of this game. There was a lot on social media about Bordeaux fans complaining about the ref, but there was also a lot. I think it was being given fairly short shrift by non-Bordeaux fans. So yeah,
there we go.
And also, someone was like, ironic of all the teams.
That's just the discourse, isn't it? Okay, so the state of play going into the final round of the top 14. I'm kind of relying on you here, Rob, because you tend to be good at these things. But
I will try my best. So, as things stand, Toulouse are top and guaranteed a semi-final. They are 8 points clear of Montpellier, so they're guaranteed top spot. Montpellier are 78 points. Stade Francais are 78 points, second and third. Pau are on 73 and fourth, so a fair way off the other 2. But they could, in theory, match them on 78 points. However, I'm pretty sure that they would be now behind Montpellier on the head-to-head on aggregate score. I'll come back to that. Racing are in 5th on 70. Bordeaux are 6th on 69. La Rochelle, who looked like they were cruising it into the barrage almost, are on 7th on 68. And Clermont are 8th on 67. Everything's wrapped up down the bottom. Who cares? So, I mentioned there the Pau head-to-head with Montpellier. It goes, as far as I'm aware, I'm going to really doubt myself now, it's competition points in head-to-head matches. So, in that, Montpellier are ahead of Pau because they got a bonus point at the Stade de Hameau, and Pau didn't get an attacking bonus point in that game, so that was 4-1. And then the game on Sunday or Saturday was 4-0 because Pau didn't get the defensive bonus point. So I think Montpellier are ahead on that, if not the aggregate score. If I've misremembered and Montpellier didn't get a defensive bonus point, it was 4-0 in each game, then it would be Montpellier would be ahead on aggregate score across the 2 games. But Pau would be ahead of Stade Francais for similar reasons. They think they got the losing bonus point away, and I think it was a fairly comfortable attacking bonus point win at the Hameau. I don't know about the other ones. But in that race for second, so that's the race for second, Montpellier go away to Lyon. Stade Francais go away to La Rochelle. So that's a key game in the whole context of the playoffs. Pau, the reason partly why they look that's the first time they've been in 4th place, but it's probably because they are now the only team that hasn't played Montauban at home. So you'd expect that to be 5 points for Pau to get them up to 78 points. Stade Francais could feasibly stay on 78 points. They could get to 79. It'd be impressive if they beat La Rochelle at the Marcel de Flandre. Montpellier could easily win at Lyon anyway. I think second is probably Montpellier's, unless they lose and Stade Francais get a shock. I would say it's a shock win at the de Flandre. So let's say that Montpellier finished second. I think Pau could overtake Stade Francais, but Stade Francais could seal third. Pau should get at least 4th. Stade Francais are guaranteed at least 4th, as are Montpellier. In fact, Montpellier guaranteed at least 3rd. The bottom end of it, Racing 92 are in pole position in 5th. They host Stade Toulousain. We have no idea what side Toulouse are going to send to that because, I don't know, I feel like they need to get some rhythm. They look a little, but Tony D is coming back. He's still injured. He's come back from injury. He might not play, but they played quite a lot of it looked like quite a good team against Lyon. You would expect that. Yeah. Like, if that game had been in October, that would have been 50 points to 10, wouldn't it? Like, that was the sort of, those two sides, the way that Toulouse were playing in the first half of the season, that would have been absolute demolition. They haven't been casting teams aside at home with attacking bonus points for fun and scoring 50. They haven't done that in the last few games at home. But either way, Racing's home record is very, very good. They've only lost 1, which was to La Rochelle very recently. So Racing could, if Pau trip up against Montauban, in theory, Racing could get into 4th. But you'd imagine that's quite long odds. Say that Racing win, they would then be 5th, which means that Bordeaux, La Rochelle and Clermont are scrapping it out for 6th. Bordeaux host Clermont at Stade Chaban-Delmas, and as I said, La Rochelle host Stade Francais. There is, I guess, a chance that I think La Rochelle have done the double over Bordeaux, haven't they? Maybe I've made that up.
No, I think was it first game of the season. They were close.
They were close first game of the season. Yes, 23-18, and then it would have been Derby weekend, or was it?
Yeah, they were quite convincing.
45-15. So that means if La Rochelle and Bordeaux end up on the same points, so say Bordeaux get a win without a bonus point and La Rochelle get a bonus point win, La Rochelle would overtake Bordeaux on the basis of the head-to-head, which is mad. Bordeaux wouldn't be in the playoffs. Clermont could ruin it all for both them and Bordeaux, because if La Rochelle win and Clermont win, La Rochelle would still be ahead of both Bordeaux and Clermont. I think that's every permutation. The fact that Bordeaux faced Clermont and La Rochelle, the La Rochelle Stade Francais game is quite hard to call. You wonder, well, actually, I know exactly what's going to happen. Stade Francais are going to send a weakened side, right? Because the following week, it's all but certain that the following week, given that they will, regardless of, well, unless they win and get the second, and Montpellier lose, I just think they'll send a weakened side knowing they'll bank their chips. We've got a home barrage game. We'll rest up our enormous pack and we'll take on whoever comes to Stade Jean-Bouin. So they'll probably send a weekend side. So La Rochelle could easily get the bonus point win. Bordeaux have got to go full noise. And Bordeaux, again, I mean, if Clermont are going to be like they were on Sunday night at Bordeaux, Bordeaux could easily get a 5-point win and stay ahead of La Rochelle. So, yeah. And actually, Bordeaux could overtake Racing if Racing win with a...
I'm getting confused now. I think let's leave it there.
Okay, right.
Beautifully summarised, though. It's so like the fixtures, the way they've fallen, it's worked amazing, out so nicely. It's Stade going to La Rochelle and Bordeaux hosting Clermont it's so nicely poised. Racing Toulouse is a fascinating one as well. I think I would, even though they've been a bit lacking rhythm, I think I would, because they're going to have a week off anyway. I don't know if I would just say that the risk of injury, particularly on a plastic pitch, outweigh the risk of not getting a bit of rhythm. But it'd be fascinating to see what they do.
Yeah, especially with some of those players, right? Like Entmack, for example. He's been in decent form post Six Nations. You kind of think like his injury record with knees and stuff like that, probably don't want to risk him there.
Yeah.
Delpy's available, right? Isn't he?
I would have thought so, yeah.
Delpy could play, but they could play, I don't know, they could go Ramos, they could go Kinghorn. I'd just stick, Ramu. I'd go Kinghorn at 10, Ramu at 15, and rest up Entamac and Ramos and Tony D. And
yeah, fascinating. Should be amazing.
Go on then, Rich.
Forward to it.
Call the order.
Okay, so Toulouse, Montpellier. Could Stade Francais get a losing bonus? It's quite tight. I'm going to go Toulouse, Montpellier, Pau, Stade Francais, Racing, Bordeaux. I think Bordeaux will win with a bonus point.
Yes, that'd be a Pau Bordeaux final. That's Barrage. Well, fine. Freudian slip.
That's a tough one for finishing third.
Yeah, although we've done the double over Bordeaux, so
yeah, very true.
Albeit both in international windows, I think. So yeah,
let's see what happens.
You're right though, like the way it's fallen, and even from a long way out, that Bordeaux Clermont game on the final round from about the end of March has looked quite tasty.
Yeah.
It would be quite amusing if Bordeaux missed out on the playoffs entirely.
All on Saturday 8 p.m. kickoff, I think.
Yes, yeah.
All taking place at the same time. Very good. All right. Looking forward to it. Okay, let's take a break and do a bit of Pro Day there. Okay, Rob, the headlines from Pro Day Deux. We have on the horizon a Vannes versus Provence final at Stade Ernest Vallon. Two, it must be said, pretty emphatic performances. Maybe even more than pretty, very emphatic performances.
Yeah.
Really, really impressive stuff from both of those sides. Do you want to go one by one? General thoughts? What are we thinking? It feels like the two, certainly based on the last, the whole season and the back half of the season in Provence's case, the two most complete, most rounded sides in the league.
Yeah, I think they were saying on commentary a few times in that Provence game that these are the two sides that would appear to be the most ready for the top 14 if whoever wins, or if both of them, obviously Joe Worsley wasn't particularly giving much countenance to the prospect of two sides going up, given that one of them would have to beat his Montpellier Perpignan side in the access match. But yeah, I think we've said all season that Van's squad looks better than the one they had in the top 14 last year, and the recruitment from Provence last season, coming into this season, was very much that is a team building for the top 14. That is top 14 style signings.
Yeah.
So and I think and also they've both got bigger budgets than Montauban. Like Montauban were seventh highest budget the year before they went up. So, and I think they're way off in terms of budget in the top 14. Whereas I think these two sides would be much nearer the rest. They'd still be the two lowest, but they'd be nearer. Go on then. What your overall thoughts?
Well, I think Van, after the first 20 minutes, I was surprised by just how comfortable they were against Oyonnax. We spoke with obviously Miles on Thursday, and he kind of flagged that, based on how well Oyonnax had been playing, their form, their pack, everything, like it was shaping up to at least be a tighter one. And I think kind of expected that. And it was just such one-way traffic.
Made a bit of a mockery of me saying, well, if there's one team that could cause Van problems, it's Oyonnax.
I don't think that was unfair at all. Like they barely fired a shot right after the try in the 15th minute or whatever it was, and that's as well a Van side who I know Dubai is a very, very good player, but who lost their 10 seemed like a few minutes, hours before the game. Barrage pulled out. I think to be able to do that just talks to how good a side they are. Really, really impressive. Rabin looked awesome in the kind of evening sun.
Some of the footage before and after the game. Oh my good lord!
The blue flares were, I'd imagine there's a few years being shaved off a couple of life expectancies. It was a proper plume, wasn't it, as you come in through the old kind of concert hall. It's fantastic place. It was proper occasion, wasn't it? Really impressive.
I think there's kind of, you can only describe that performance, well, that Van performance was efficient, but it was also ominous. But I think, like, looking at the teams, I was struck by the caliber of player they were leaving out. So obviously initially it was like Debais wasn't there. So you kind of had this guy that's always played pretty well in Pro D2. He has played in the top 14 for Po. Rudil has played years in the top 14. And also it was some quite experienced heads that they left out, like Steve Blanc-Mapaz, Fabrice Metz. I now can't think of anyone else, but like those are pretty. Fabrice Metz has been really good this season. He's got about 10 minutes in a France jersey. But years in the top 14. Same with whoever I just said, Rudil. Like Steve Blanc-Mapaz has played loads in Pro D2.
He's been one of the best players in the league this season.
The last 2-3 years in terms of just minutes. To leave out that amount of experience and still look like Joe Edwards was on the bench, like to still have so much strength and depth and such a strong side out, it was, I think shows that Van, just how strong that squad is. And it was kind of like, it was quite interesting to see them go into a knockout game because they've got such a strong squad, and B, they've had that because they're so much stronger than everyone else, they've been able to rotate and mix and match and sort out combinations. It was interesting to see them finally go in with, here is our first choice 15, as it were. Like someone like Takola, he's kind of played all over the place this season. Like they've tried him on the wing, they've tried him at fullback, and I was like, it's a bit of a shame that he's kind of he's like lost his way because he's brilliant talent. And then so actually when it comes to the crunch, they go, no, our best centres are Pierre Boudon and Takola with Saili off the bench. It's just silly, isn't it? Like Saili made our top 14 team of the season last year.
He was amazing last year.
So it was a kind of frightening squad, and the performance was frighteningly efficient.
Yeah.
And it like I've been really critical, haven't I? I've been not really critical, but tongue-in-cheek critical of Van being pragmatic and their attack being a bit stagnant and boring. But the thing, you may lose your first choice 10 with Lafarge, but Devices, like he's played loads of sevens, right? And he's a bit more expressive, and so you get like little delicate touches from him, and some of the invention in his play just made, like, when you've got the platform and you've ground the opposition down because you're so efficient, you can afford to have someone kind of do stuff like that. It was just moments of magic from them. They look so, and like the try they score that's from the Device dink over the top, and I know he kind of fumbles the pass a little bit, but from that point with the dink and the way that Boudon and Takola like follow it up, it's just so in sync.
Yeah, they're good. They're very, when it is on, they are very good. Like the kind of crispness and timing of their attack is, when they want to, is really impressive.
I also think like there was an element of just them nailing like the scraps. So like whenever there was a slight slip up from Oyonnax, you just had Boutier or Ruru just banging it like off a kind of snap kick. They would bang it like 70 meters or whatever. Like Boutier was exceptional, and we saw the full extent of his kicking game, just to keep pinning them back. But it was kind of like, it was like you've got no right to, any other team that coughs the ball up, they'd still be inside the opposition half in that scenario. But for whatever, like they were just inspired that some of the kicking from Van.
Yeah, really good. And then the other semi, Colomiers hosting Provence. Again, pretty comfortable for Provence. And to be honest, it feels like, there was this question, wasn't there, around that we've spoken about all through the year around Colomiers at scrum time. Even speaking to Miles, him kind of mentioning they're a younger pack, slightly lighter pack than others as well. And unfortunately for Colomiers, after an amazing season, it basically came unstuck up front, didn't it? They kind of got nudged around and the scrum went backwards, and
two props given their wings this weekend.
Yeah,
Etchebeher was airborne at one point, wasn't he? And eventually got yellowed, and that was he looked pretty deflated. Like felt like there wasn't much he could do. When you're up against Thomas Francis is in some seriously good form, isn't he? Like he has been ripping it up at scrum round the park, looking so good. Like you've got a current Wales international who has 60 caps coming up against a 21-year-old, and he's backed up by an Australian international. Like that pack is proper. And I think the key thing was that at Malta, it wasn't necessarily in attack the physicality showed, it was in defence that the physicality showed, because Colomiers couldn't get anywhere against that maul and like around the fringes. Like even Timu, who's like kind of bumping people, but he wasn't really getting over the gain line that much, because like physicality of the Provence pack is so strong.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, they just looked far more. And you talk about kind of top 14 readiness. It looked like a little bit like a kind of. It reminded me a little bit of the year before. Was it last year where, albeit they were at home, Grenoble were pretty comfortable over Provence, and they and obviously didn't get to the top 14, but watching it, kind of like, wow, that looks like a side that belongs in the league above. It felt like this was a little bit of a mismatch across the. I mean, I guess they both were, weren't they? Semi-finals, but so that does mean
I just want to call out in that game. Tuasui, amazing, but Charlie Gambini with 2 tries and an unreal offload for one of the tries.
Yeah, that was class.
He, like, of all the names in that pack, he's the youngster, isn't he, that hasn't played at the top level. I guess Zafra is similar, but yeah, you kind of think, well, why would they not have Harrison starting? It's like, well, because this guy is a proper rock star, like so much energy, so much physicality, bit of wheels. Yeah. Guess it, like the way he hits lines like on short balls is brilliant. Fantastic player. And also own try from Theo Giral, just lobbing one back inside straight to Arthur Caville. That was it was almost like he'd given up. It was almost like the whistle had gone and he was just giving him the ball, but it hadn't. Yeah. It's a fascinating matchup, which is what you're about to go on to. I'm excited.
Yeah, So I suppose the key thing is, can you see Van getting toppled by Provence? But I mean, they did it a few weeks back. So,
but also you mentioned it there, like how good were Grenoble last year in that semi-final to then get done on the day by a team just on their game. So there is every chance that you see it, right? You see, we've seen this before where a team steamrollers a semi-final and it looks, look at, here's one for you. The Cricket World Cup, England absolutely destroyed Australia, didn't they? And it's like when New Zealand have scraped through against India and it came down to boundary count back for New Zealand to lose that one or England to win it. Like you see teams steamroller a semi-final and cock it up or get very, very be way closer in the final than it should do. I also think just the form of that pack is ridiculous from Provence, isn't it? Like the way those guys are playing is sensational. I just think you look at the maul defense of Rodder and Zafra, like they can disrupt the Van maul game. They can disrupt them at scrum time. I think they probably, like Francis versus Vunipola at scrum time. How exciting is that battle? And they can disrupt them at line out because they've got loads of good options. I think they can stop them at source. And I would still say that Provence have more X factor in that back line than Van, which seems mad. But Like we barely saw anything of Drouet. Lepeg, I think, thought he was going to be suspended. I don't know whether an orange card gets you a suspension, but Batuni Yatta's been in fantastic form back half the season at 13. Just think there's a bit of X factor in that back line.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I still think I would still, if I had to put money on it, I'd put it on Van. I think they are.
Gun to my head, I'd go Van, but I think I wouldn't.
They can definitely do it.
I'd be putting a cheeky bet on Provence, I reckon.
Fair. Yeah, I think you're totally right. Like, and it's almost they've been so far ahead for the season. There is, it's a different conversation, but I do think that at the end of a year like Pro Day do, I think if you finish top of a 30 match league, you should go straight up. In the same way, if you finish bottom of the top 14, then you should go straight down. Like I do, that would be something I would bring in. But yeah, it should be an amazing final. What I would say is that I think that I can see a scenario where Van lose this and beat Perpignan at home, in an access match, and I think that would be, if you were a Perpignan fan, and this will bring us on to our next bit in a moment, when Nice lost to Narbonne a few weeks back in the National Pro Day or the National final. I think we both said we felt that was probably spelt worse news for Mont-de-Marsan than had Narbonne. Had they had to go to Narbonne. So yeah, I think I genuinely think there's a chance that both sides could go up one way or other.
I think we have been saying for a lot of this season that this could be the year that two sides do go up. I wonder if Provence lose, whether they'd be able to back it up mentally. Like we've seen them historically struggle in some of the knockout games, and that's obviously taking a slightest bit of evidence and extrapolating it quite significantly. But yeah, I think it's quite easy to get wrapped up in a bit of like drama and romance, isn't it? And be like, oh, Provence could overturn them. But actually, if you take a step back and looked at it in the cold light today, Van were like 30 points ahead in the league. They looked, they absolutely destroyed Oyonnax.
Yeah,
that was without even getting out of third gear, really.
Yeah.
So
they were also at one point a few weeks ago 28-0 up away at Provence before their remarkable turnaround. So yeah, it just feels like it's going to be an absolute classic, doesn't it?
Well, Arthur Kerville will be in the top 14 either way next year. No, not necessarily. Sorry, he's off to Van next year. That's an interesting subplot.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, which I think is where he started.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
But I'm pretty sure that's confirmed.
Right, so the final will be Sunday evening, if I'm not mistaken.
Saturday evening.
Saturday evening at
5
p.m.
UK time, 6 p.m. local time.
Sorry, squeezed in just before the last round of top 14. Yeah, very exciting. Looking forward to it.
And you can, of course, watch on FR UK for free if you're in the UK and Ireland.
Get stuck in.
Not in Germany, someone said on Blue Sky. I think it was Germany. They were kind of
frustrating.
Commenting from. Yeah.
Never mind. Right. The final bit to round it up that we kind of mentioned
it there.
Yeah. Mont-de-Marsan won't be in Pro Day next year. They lost in the access match down at Nice, Nissa Rugby, back in Pro Day under their new guys. Fairly well, impressive. Like, I mean, their squad is, as we've said so many times throughout the year, like there's some cash.
They're the Provence of National, aren't they? Really, like they've made a load of signings. That's like, well, they should be playing in the league above.
Yeah, and so it's proved. Very impressive. And I think it feels like for next year, I have no idea how Narbonne will go, but we mentioned how one of the things that's made Pro Day so exciting this year is the kind of quality of the bottom of the league. And actually, although they struggled, Carcassonne brought, were perhaps more competitive than their final standing suggested. I would imagine Nice will probably be a little bit more than that, and Narbonne maybe a bit of an unknown quantity. So, yeah, I think exciting news for the league. Albeit Mont-de-Marsan, our first ventures into Pro Day Rob, Mont-de-Marsan raiding Stade Jean Daugé.
Yeah.
The year we went to Angoulême, they hammered them there and then lost out in the final. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a fall from grace, unfortunately, and all really on the first half of their season, right? Yeah. The second half they kind of pulled it back round, but yeah, a real shame for them. But I'm sure they will be back.
Their defense was dreadful for parts of this game. which I think has been a bit of a key thing. They've still got so many good players. Like Tuafua has been brilliant all season at number 8, and I don't know what his contract is, but you'd imagine he's been so good in Pro Day. He scored a serious try. He's gassed a winger on a kick ahead. Yeah, he's been really, really good. I wouldn't be surprised if someone tries to snap him up. Milo Harris as well has been really good. Guys like Yashikashvili, I don't think has been quite as good this year as we'd hoped, but he's got to be playing at a higher level. Like, if they can keep some of these players, they will have a squad way too strong for Nacional. Like that, I would say their squad is stronger than Carcassonne's. It's just that for whatever reason they've not pieced it together this year. It's been coming, I guess, because they were a little bit close last year. But sad to see a former Brennus winner and someone from the Rugby Heartlands go down. I know we're trying to spread the game, which National is now like the corners of France with Orléans as going up as winners. I hadn't quite realised how central Orléans is. I thought it was further west, but you've got so many parts of the country covered in National now, even with Nice going up to Pro de Deux. But yeah, probably a good thing for the southeast as well that Nice go up. But a bit of a shame for Mont-de-Marsan. Still some really talented players that could easily be. I mean, some internationals there, right? I know they're losing a few of them, like Bento, but
yeah, absolutely. The what it does, maybe slightly selfishly, it kind of brings in a couple of nice double header weekend options, kind of Provence to Nice to Toulon.
Yeah,
not too bad, and Dax Mont-de-Marsan, given some National games, will be on a Saturday. So yeah, few little options there for the nerds. I think that's us. Just sit back and wait for Pro Day there. Should we do a couple of petty fours, Rob, to close us out?
Yes, yeah.
What have you got? Mine was mostly based around my thoughts on the Montpellier shirt, but I think we've covered that off sufficiently. So what's taking your interest?
Two tiny things. I saw on a suggested follow account. There was talking about like youngsters and their movements. There was a signing that caught my eye of Juan Haranordaki moving from Bayonne to Toulouse, the son of Emmanuel Aronaldiki. At Bayonne, controversially, I thought, but maybe their academy's better. But he's now off to Toulouse. Maybe one to watch out for. I would fancy.
Just on this was actually, I saw this just after we recorded last week, so a little bit late to it. But talking of the famous former players, we had Serge Betson last week at Twickenham, who was watching his daughter, Jade, in the final of Richmond versus Old Albanian Saints.
Wow.
Yeah, Jade Betson, who, I'm guessing is Serge's son. He's there in his Richmond rugby shirt.
Oh, it's a male Jade?
No. Oh, daughter. Sorry, did I say son? Daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, fair play.
Doesn't his son plays at La Rochelle, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think didn't his son come up through? Is it one of it was like the Quins Academy, which might make sense with the Richmond connection.
Oh yeah, maybe, yeah.
An unexpected appearance there, which I really enjoyed. So fair play to Jade.
The other thing I saw was an advert for Festival Pepusk. Now, thankfully, it is on the 3rd to the 5th of July, so Christophe Urios will be fully done with top 14 rugby then. But Chateau Pepusk is his vineyard. The Festival Pepusk at the Chateau in Pepieux in the north of the Aude department, so it's kind of near the Herol border. It's there's a soiree carnival rock on Friday evening, dress code, costumes and touches of rock. There's a meal. Saturday, there is a producers market in the morning with food, crafts, clothing, that sort of thing. Afternoon is Les Olympiades de Pepusk, which is fun and sporting challenges with Christophe Urios. And then the evening is La Feria Pepuskienne, which is basically to kind of recreate the rugby après with a bandas, a meal, and the dress code is your most beautiful rugby jersey. I imagine there's going to be some absolute crackers there. That is €35 for that whole day on Saturday. 75 is Le Repas Jazzy, which is 75. I assume the people doing the meal is pretty good, but dress code is chic and a touch of pink. So if you wanted to do the whole weekend, that'd be €25, €35, and €75. So that's getting a bit pricey. But
And when is that?
The 3rd to the 5th of July.
Oh, wow. That does sound like a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it?
Fantastic. All right.
I've got one thing that I've got a question mark against because I saved down the stuff about Festival Pepusk on Instagram, and I saw in our saved posts something about Big John, and I don't think I saved it.
Oh, was this the?
So I assume it was you.
I think this was because our mate. Was this to do with?
I've got no idea. I just saw it. I was like, I'm not going to watch it because I think Rich is going to tell me about it in the Petty Fours.
Oh, what have I? That's so bizarre. I think that was weeks ago.
No, it was like 25th of May.
Was it? Oh, I can't remember. I think this might have been off the back of our friend who's involved in Guinness World Records, being involved in a world record attempt with him. I don't think that.
Mate, that's embargoed. We're not allowed to talk about that.
It's out now. It's live.
Oh, is it?
It's live. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was at PSG.
Oh, that was it. Sorry. Yes, that is why I saved it. He was at PSG. It was like it looked like the football equivalent of the Crunch creator from
with the
week before.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was something like that, and he was giving some big speech. But to be honest, I couldn't really. I saved it because I was like, I'm not sure I can bear to watch this right now, and then forgot about it and never went back. But
he's there with the bloke that won I'm a Celeb.
And I think there was some restaurant he was in which looked quite good, which might have been part of the saving as well. I think that was on Thursday night after I had a couple of beers, so I'd forgotten about it. But there we go. Big John was in PSG. Oh my God,
that's how he signs it off. Le Bosch, and then a load of England and France flags.
The persistence, like it feels like that really should have been a flash in the pan social media moment, not however many years later.
Millions of followers, yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it? What a world we live in. Anyway, right, what a weekend of rugby to come. Top 14 final round, so much hanging on that. The Pro Day final in Toulouse, all parked up on Saturday. So, yeah, get your feet up, bask in the rugby glow. Follow us on Blue Sky, on Instagram, on X, on TikTok. YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, TikTok, yeah. Anything else? Or do we just say a fond farewell?
No, we'll try and get some stuff up on YouTube for that need to know stuff, or the who needs what for the top 14, because it might be a bit easier with some visuals, but well done if you managed to follow that.
Les permutations. Right. Yeah. I've been Richard, that's been Rob. We've been at the Rosbiff Rugby Podcast. Thank you for listening. As ever, au revoir.
Au revoir.
Viva!